big news this week is that Disney has acquired Marvel.
Oh, God.
For $4 billion. Brad, are you actually hearing this for the first time?
No, but I had forgotten about it.
Okay. I was hoping you somehow missed this news.
That was hard to miss.
Hard to miss,
That's all anybody was talking
deal.
about today.
It's like, holy shit.
Or yesterday.
See, I don't know. It makes sense to me. Like,
well, Warner Brothers owns DC.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about it.
Like, at this point, considering that the economic function of superheroes is to exist as IP for films to be produced, it makes total sense for a primarily film company to go and buy that and then have all of that IP at their command. It's like, then we can do whatever the hell we want with all this stuff.
I'm surprised Disney scooped it up. Like Universal,
I think Disney's the only one with the scratch to do it.
Yeah,
think so.
$4 billion is kind of a lot of money.
$4 billion is and they like, especially if you try and think about it as Disney paid $4 billion for a comic book company, your brain will fall out. But when you consider it as no, they just bought a whole all this IP.
Oh yeah,
and all of the the legacy of
they
the
bought
Marvel
Tobey
comics.
Maguire.
Yeah, they own his ass now.
Yeah.
They just bought a Spider-Man ride.
That's my first question. Do you see Wolverine?
Web shooters that you strap to your arms.
Do you see a guy in a Wolverine costume at Disney World?
For sure. Within a month.
No, come on. Don't be crazy.
Wolverine
what are you talking about?
at Disney World?
They would not.
He'll be marching in the Disney World parade.
Pixar is all up in those Disney theme parks now. I mean, granted, there's
that
more.
Integrates a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like Wolverine.
No,
with
it'll be
fake rubber claws.
Yeah.
I'm here to hug kids with my knives.
100%. I guarantee.
You know what? Not at Disneyland, but Disney World is a big enough place.
I think they'll open up. They'll open up a Marvel themed.
Well, here's
section,
the thing: is that
Universal
already has a deal with Marvel. Universal already has a bunch of Marvel rides and shit at their Orlando facility. So it's the question of when does that stuff run out, and that also kind of rolls over into games too, because they're saying there's a ton of existing licensing deals between Marvel and a bunch of different game publishers,
and
they're
Disney
saying
technically has its own thing.
And Disney technically has its own thing, and they're saying that when these, we've already got all of these deals set up, and when these expire, we'll have the luxury of being able to decide if we want to renew them or if we want to take our business elsewhere.
Dude, Kingdom Hearts 3 is gonna be fucked.
No fucking way. I'll draw the line on that more than the other thing. Like the Disney Square thing, like it's similar to the Pixar Disney thing, where it's like there's a little bit of a parody in the tone and the style and kind of the sense of whimsy that you can't.
Wolverine and Cloud and.
But it's
Mickey.
it'll just be the Marvel characters that would be likable and not the brooding, almost psychopaths. It'd be like Power Pack. In Kingdom Hearts 3.
No one knows what Power Pack is.
What?
I know what Power Pack is. You know what Power Pack is.
Who is a likable character in the Marvel universe? Who is a lighthearted character?
Spider-Ham!
Even he is...
Porker!
Peter Porker.
Even he is not lighthearted.
That's pretty good. He is.
Well, relatively.
He's absolutely a
relatively sure.
Dude,
he has some pathos, but you can spin. But you have to remember, through the 90s, they tried to spin absolutely anybody as being the dark, grim anti-hero.
True.
So everyone has some of that in their past, but everyone also has some corny ass shit in their past too.
Fair enough.
So there's
some dark stuff in Kingdom Hearts, though. Cloud gets pretty dark, isn't he? All brooding. Emo.
I'm rolling my eyes.
I think a Square Marvel thing would make more sense.
Yeah, that
than mixing Marvel with Disney and Square.
Yeah.
Like if they wanted to take Vincent and partner him up with Wolverine or something like that, that would suck. But it would suck in a way that you could understand.
The thing is that even with the Pixar stuff, like in the parks for the Disney stuff, like they exist side by side, but they don't really commingle. Like, yeah, you might see them in the parade together. But it's not like Buzz Lightyear's having conversations with Mickey Mouse.
Like I totally see Spider-Man already in a Disney World park. Like it's in my head.
Spider-Man, yes.
I think Wolverine.
Wolverine,
totally
no.
Yellow ass Wolverine.
The Hulk, yes.
The Hulk, yes.
Spider-Man, the Hulk. Fantastic
Kids
Four.
love Wolverine.
Yeah.
They
like anything that's like Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, 60s era stuff. Like that kind of wheelhouse Iron Man shit, like that's all
fair game.
Very easy to do in a put into a Disney context, but all the weird 70s and 80s and 90s stuff, like once it, yeah, I don't think so.
So then we start seeing Disney Interactive putting out all the Marvel games, right?
Potentially.
Like,
well, I mean, I don't know. They're not committing to it one way or the other because I don't think
that's all going to depend on what makes the most business sense at the time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm sure that as each one of those deals, even outside of games, as each one of them comes up, I can't imagine they're going to take some blanket policy of like, we're bringing all this in house.
Yeah, they don't have the bandwidth and like it's good to have partners for that stuff who know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah,
like
sure.
It's like Activision seems like they've done fine by the Marvel license.
Like the Mua games have been solid.
They're a distribution powerhouse that can market the hell out of a game in a way that Disney still cannot.
Yep.
And maybe someday Disney will get there. They certainly now have.
Well, see, now
like,
they have
the IP behind it.
Now they have the IP capital to get to that point.
But
and even
I
Marvel's been kind of doing their own deals, but they still partner up with people. They're not going to try and do it all themselves.
Yeah.
Well, Marvel had just started producing their own movies. They had
they're like a studio unto themselves.
But
though.
Disney also isn't Touchstone like under Disney. Don't they have like daughter studios that kind of do?
yeah, they have tons. Yeah,
like
Miramax
other stuff, right?
was
Miramax.
Right.
Disney. Yeah.
So,
Like
like,
Hollywood Records is a Disney label.
So like they'll do stuff that's kind of outside the Disney touchy feely kind of like.
True, but when it comes to games specifically, like they don't have that same.
Well, there's like BlackRock doing like I mean Disney is publishing Split Second, right?
Yeah,
Like-
that's BlackRock game.
Yeah.
So they're doing some stuff, but
they
I
do
don't-
Pure.
But I don't think they're
Yeah, they did
those
Pure.
guys did Pure. I don't think they can take on the full development load of all games based on Marvel.
Yeah,
properties.
that's true. That's a lot
like
of
maybe at
stuff.
some point they. Well, I mean, I don't think they'd ever develop it. It's a matter of like, do they want to become their own publisher
Yeah.
and make their own deals with developers and do their own stuff
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. I mean,
that way? Like, yeah, they're never going to bring all their development in house because no one does that.
so
That
big-
would be crazy.
sheer insanity.
big
but-
Disney booth with all.
Yeah, it's like but maybe you could see Disney at some point deciding like we want to bring all these products in house and publish them ourselves.
Steve Jobs now owns a piece. Captain America.
Dude,
That's
Spider-Man.
exciting.
that's crazy.
Steve Jobs is Captain America.
What's Sony gonna do? Sony.
Shit their pants.
Hey, they just
They're
changed
gonna-
their font, didn't they? Didn't you
Yeah,
say
they
took
did.
that
They-
off?
that's
Yeah,
true.
They did.
Huh.
Now there's your conspiracy.
Put that
They know
together,
that was
huh?
coming.
Oh, man.
They said we have to get away from that because we're not going to get to make those movies anymore. Because shit,
Oh, weird, huh?
I don't even know what the movie
What's
stuff
gonna be
like.
on
With
my
that movie
PSP?
stuff, like
Yeah, like I don't know
Whether
where those deals stand. Like,
if Sony's going to still get to make the Spider-Man movies, because I know like the fourth one's in some early stage of development. So yeah, big. That's a big freaking deal, not just for video games, but across
$4
media.
billion. Big deal for money.
$4 billion, dude.
Probably biggest acquisition news this year, right? That I can think of.
Well, most expensive, yes.
Definitely.
and I feel like weren't we just talking about like how like Marvel seems to be doing a lot more stuff than DC, and it's probably because they don't have some big corporate owner
We did mention that.
constantly has to oversee every little weird thing that they do. Like Marvel got scrappy and did a bunch of cool stuff on its own and was able to like put themselves out there and do what's best for them at all times. Whereas Warner Brothers is like, yeah, we're Warner Brothers. We got a lot of other stuff going on. I wonder now if it's just like, hey, well,
But
I don't know if you know this, but Pixar's pretty big too, guys. Why don't you get in line?
that's the thing. I feel like, and it's kind of weird saying this, but I think Disney as an organization is maybe a little more savvy.
Yeah, man.
It seems like they recognize, like, okay, these guys are good at doing what they're doing.
Keep doing it.
Yeah,
So you think it was like a
and
meeting,
and like it's just been exploited so much better. What's that, Vinny?
like I mean Marvel was doing pretty well, like you said. So you think it was a meeting where Disney was like, well, how do you guys feel about coming on board? We're gonna think about buying. Like, yeah, whatever. Give me a price. $4 billion. Okay. Hold on a second. Let me
Oh,
call
man.
somebody. $4 billion.
For no,
Okay.
but
But really?
That's just a meeting with Stan Lee.
He's just sitting back.
Okay, you've got a deal.
Excelsior.
Is that your daughter? Done.
Can I be in all the Disney movies from here on out as well?
I'll be a
I'll
bus
be the
driver.
mailman.
Yeah.
Whenever I show up, I'll just be old man in a windbreaker pointing at something.
Dude, did I read that Stan Lee is in the back half of his 80s?
Yeah.
Isn't he like 86,
Yeah, yeah.
87?
He's an old ass man.
Man.
He is an old. He is,
Dude, he is
an elderly gentleman.
He is laying it down
He
for
was.
that age.
I mean, he was an adult in the early '60s when he was making up Spider-Man and shit.
He's doing pretty well for his age.
Is he like a Marvel like exec?
No, he's a figurehead.
So he's like probably has some stake in Marvel, but like not running.
but he's not. He doesn't run anything there.
Okay.
He is.
He does like creative stuff, some consulting kind of. Okay.
And then
He
Jim Lee,
shows up
Jim
at
Lee,
trade
They
shows.
roll him out to cut ribbons.
He just shows up at trade shows.
He's very Hugh Hefnerish
okay.
in his stature at this point. Where
and
it's like
a lot of other ways.
he's associated, but
I mean,
he's
but
not a decision
I think
maker.
the distinction for me is that I like to think of it as he's not running the place because he doesn't have to, not because they won't let him.
I don't think he has held a executive position there in decades.
Mm.
Like he was not involved at all for a long time. Like he left the building for a long time, and then I think eventually just management had shifted enough that it was like let's be friendly with Stan
Yeah.
because Stan's too much of the legacy. We can't diss Stan.
Yeah.
So
All right, fair enough.
and that's your news.